What if your emotions weren't obstacles, but oracles, guiding you to the life you're truly meant to live? Find out how right now. Welcome to the Midlife Reinvention Podcast, a podcast helping women in career and life transitions achieve clarity on their next steps so they can transform uncertainty into an energizing next chapter. I'm your host, Kavita Ahuja, and the founder of It's My Time Now Coaching. If you're wondering what's next in your career or life, you are in the right place. Through solo and guest episodes, you'll gain practical tips, tools, and inspiration to help you uncover blocks, gain confidence, and be, do, and have what you want. I rediscovered myself after the age of 50, and I know you can too. It's my time now to help you do just that. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Midlife Reinvention Podcast. I'm your host, Kavita Ahuja, and today's episode is especially personal and powerful. This past week has been filled with profound emotions for me, from the joyful celebration of my son's engagement to the heartbreaking loss of my father-in-law. I've experienced a full spectrum of what it means to be human. And in sharing this with you, my hope is that you'll find clarity and comfort in your own transitions, whether in life, career, or your identity. In this episode, I'll guide you through the emotional reframing method, a transformative tool I've been trained in to help you understand and work through your own emotions, not by suppressing them, but by honoring them. You'll hear how a major career disappointment led me to the path I'm on today, and why our emotions, even the uncomfortable ones, are critical for growth. So if you're feeling anxious, uncertain, or even excited about what's next for you, this episode will help you see these emotions not as roadblocks, but as signposts pointing the way forward. So stay with me. This conversation may be just what your heart needs right now. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Midlife Reinvention Podcast. I hope you had a lovely weekend and a lovely Father's Day if you celebrate it. Today is a bittersweet moment for me and my family, as on this Father's Day weekend, we lost my father-in-law at the age of 93. He was a loving, deeply spiritual soul and lived a very simple, calm, and quiet life right up to the end. I dedicate this episode to my loving father-in-law, Yogaraj Ahuja, for whom I owe so much, most importantly, allowing me to be part of his family as I married his incredible son, my love, Samir. We were able to be by his side, including all his grandchildren, which was a blessing. If we could all live such a full life and die with such grace, it is really a blessing. In these last few weeks, there have been many highs and lows and many emotions, which is what I'd like to talk to you about today. By sharing this with you here today, I hope it will help you realize that whatever emotions you may be going through as you face your life transitions, they're perfectly normal. And actually, we can use our emotions to guide us along the right path. We are all human, and our emotions are a natural part of our lives, so they should not be ignored. I've had many significant life transitions lately, with both my sons getting engaged in the last few months. In fact, last weekend we had a superb and beautiful celebration for my older son, who just got engaged, with friends and family from all over the world attending and gracing our home with blessings. The emotions I felt as a result were joy and love and happiness and deep appreciation, but also a feeling of slight sadness as it feels like my little boys are leaving me and starting a new life transition of their own. Of course, this is not the case, because they won't ever leave me, and in fact, I'm gaining two beautiful daughters in the process. But I didn't want to suppress these emotions because they're real and necessary to work through, and I want you to do the same. If you're feeling hurt or angry or sad or mad, don't suppress those feelings, my friend. Acknowledge them and ask yourself, why are they here? They will guide you forward. And after this entirely beautiful celebration of love and blessings for this engagement, we got word that my father in law became extremely sick and, as I mentioned, passed away peacefully. I am here now with our family as we celebrate the beautiful life he lived. We were blessed to be with him on Father's Day weekend, and my emotions, of course, are those of sadness and love and regret also for not having spent more time with him, and of course, total respect for him. The reason I'm sharing this with you, my friend, is to tell you that if we use our emotions to guide us, they can reveal so much about our path. As I think about my father in law, my sadness reveals to me that I don't ever want to live a life of regret. I want to be spiritually at peace and thankful for every day, as he always was. As he transitions, we can be sad, of course, but we must remain strong and realize that this too is a natural phase of life. This is obviously emotional for me and something I hesitated to share initially, but then realized that in fact, in my sharing, it may help you too. I want to turn to you now. How are you feeling as you may be experiencing a transition in your life or your career? Are you feeling anxious or nervous or even scared? Are you confused or excited? I believe a lot in the teachings of Abraham Hicks, who says that if we can and should use our emotions as a guide to our path forward. If, for example, you're feeling excitement about the choice ahead of you, that is an indication for you to pursue that path. If, however, the current situation you're in is causing you to feel frustration or unhappiness, this is an indication that you need to move forward towards a better feeling emotion and you need to change your circumstances. We all experience varying degrees of emotions as we embark on something new. And the main point of this episode today is to help you realize that rather than ignoring our emotions, it is very important to acknowledge their presence. When we acknowledge our emotions, it can actually help us in our growth and add clarity to our progress. I have learned much from an expert on transitions, a powerhouse by the name of Linda Rossetti, who I have also trained with. And Linda says, our emotions can serve as an oracle, not an obstacle to our success. In fact, Linda has created a powerful emotional reframing technique, which I have been trained in and which I'd like to share with you today, which may help you. This technique is called H.A.I.L, which empowers us to respond differently in the face of transitions in our lives. Rather than ignoring our emotions, what if we honored them and asked ourselves questions which would give us new meaning to these emotions and help us grow instead? This technique is best served with an example from my own career. As many of you know, I was in a long-term corporate pharmaceutical career, which I truly enjoyed. However, around the time I turned 50, I began to question if this career was indeed still right for me. Not because it had changed, but because I had. I began to feel more and more unfulfilled and struggled with what I should do. I immediately thought that I could fix things by pursuing other roles within the same industry, essentially climbing up the corporate ladder. So, believing I would be more fulfilled, I applied for a senior position in my same company. This is an example of change versus transition. By changing circumstances, I thought I would fix everything. So, fully expecting to get the job after I was being groomed for it and told I was perfect for it, you can imagine my shock when I was told I didn't land the job of my dreams. Of course, had I taken the time to really reevaluate who I was, what I wanted, my changing passions and values, and ikigai, I would not have pursued this role. But of course, at the time I did, and when I didn't get the job of my dreams, of course, many emotions came up for me as a result. If I was to name the emotion which was most prevalent to me at the time, it would be shock. I was shocked that I didn't get this job because I was basically groomed for it, as I said, and I was told I was a shoo-in for it. This is the first part of the H.A.I.L emotional reframing technique, which is to actually name and honor the H in H.A.I.L, honor its presence. By honoring its presence and naming it, we can begin to understand why the emotion of shock, for example, was there. The next step in the H.A.I.L process is A, or to ask, why did I experience this emotion at the time? What did this emotion mean to me? I realized that shock was present because I fully expected and believed that the job was mine and didn't even entertain the belief that I wouldn't get it. The next step in the H.A.I.L process is I, or to ask, how does this emotion influence me? The initial shock turned to questions such as, did I do something wrong? Was it my fault? Maybe I'm not good enough for this role. Maybe they were right. Thoughts of self doubt and loss of confidence can set in as we reflect on how our emotions influence us. Do you, for example, start to doubt yourself or feel guilty for a particular emotion? Why? Finally, we can ask ourselves, what might this emotion be trying to teach us? What can we learn, which is the L in H.A.I.L, from the presence of this emotion? When I asked myself this question, the initial shock turned into questioning. Why did this happen? Did I actually truly want this job, or was it just expected of me? This questioning led me to realize that indeed this was not what I wanted. This was something I thought that would solve my discontent at the time, but indeed, if I had taken the time then to rediscover myself and my ikigai, I would have realized this is not the case. When I look back now, I realize that not getting this job was actually a gift because it wasn't the path I was meant to take. And this disruption in my life actually led me to re-examine who I was. As a result, I took the time to re-examine who I was and what I really wanted. Rather than immediately changing jobs, I decided that now was a time to re-examine my changing values and my purpose, which is when I transitioned to my current career, in which I am so much more fulfilled and which aligns so much more fully with my truth. If I look back at it now, that moment of disruption was really a gift given to me. So, disruptions are normal in our lives, and along the way, it is important to acknowledge our emotions as they serve as important guides on our path towards truth fulfillment. As we continue to experience transition in our lives, whether they be career transitions, like I just described, or the transitions of life, such as marriage or empty nests, or even death, it is so important to recognize, acknowledge, and learn from our emotions as they are oracles to our success. So I invite you to ask yourself, what emotions are you feeling right now and why? And what are they telling you about your current situation? I have included the H.A.I.L reframing method in the show notes for you to complete yourself. And if you want more information or would like me to guide you through this with you, don't hesitate to reach out to me for a complimentary coaching session. Reach out to me at Kavita at itsmytimenowcoaching.com and we can go through this together. Remember, by understanding why our emotions are present, it can actually aid us towards transformational growth. And to the fathers in your life, happy Father's Day. This is for my dad, Surinder Kohli, who is the light of my life, and to my father-in-law, Yogaraj Ahuja. May your light shine forever. I love you both deeply. Till next time, stay well with lots of love.